Before a priest celebrates the traditional Latin Mass, something remarkable happens behind the scenes. Long before he reaches the altar, he begins preparing himself through prayer. This preparation is not simply practical. It is spiritual. Each piece of clothing he puts on has a purpose, a history, and a prayer attached to it. For centuries, Catholic priests have recited these same prayers as they vest for Mass, reminding themselves that they are about to enter into the most sacred act of worship in the Church. The vesting process begins with a simple act. Before vesting, the priest washes his hands. As water flows over his hands, the priest asks God to purify him interiorly, preparing his heart and mind for the holy sacrifice he is about to offer. He prays,
"Give strength to my hands, Lord, to wipe away all stain, so that I may be able to serve the impurity of mind and body."
Then the vesting begins. The first vestment is called the amice. The vestment has a cross on it. The priest kisses the cross. When vesting, the priest briefly touches it on his head while praying. It is a simple white cloth placed over the shoulders and around the neck. The priest is covering up his regular priest everyday clothing as a reminder he is leaving the everyday world behind and entering a world of eternity. In Latin, it is amicire, meaning to wrap around. The amice represents the cloth that the soldiers put on Jesus when they struck him. It represents the helmet of salvation.
"Place upon my head, O Lord, the helmet of salvation, to resist the assaults of the devil."
Next comes the alb, a long white garment reaching from shoulders to feet. The word alb comes from the Latin word for white. This white garment symbolized the chastity. As he puts it on, the priest asks God to cleanse his heart and make him worthy to approach the altar. He prays,
"Make me pure, O Lord, and cleanse my heart, that washed in the blood of the Lamb, I may enjoy eternal heaven."
The priest then fastens a cord around his waist known as the cincture. This simple cord represents discipline, self-control, and readiness for service. In biblical times, a man would gird himself before beginning an important task. The priest now does the same. While tying it, he prays that God would preserve in him purity and chastity. With this prayer,
"Gird me, O Lord, with the cincture of purity, and extinguish in my loins the heat of concupiscence, that the virtue of continence and chastity may abide in me."
Then comes the stole. The stole is placed around the neck and crossed over the chest. The priest wears the stole for all the sacraments he administers. The name in Latin is stola. The stole represents the authority and responsibilities entrusted to the priest through holy orders. He prays,
"Restore to me, O Lord, the state of immortality which I lost through the sin of my first parents, and, although unworthy to approach the sacred mysteries, may I still receive eternal joy."
The maniple is a narrow, embroidered band of silk worn over the priest's left forearm during Mass. Originally a practical linen handkerchief in ancient Rome used to wipe away sweat, it evolved into a profound liturgical symbol by the 6th century. Key symbolism: labor and tears. It represents the weeping and sorrow of pastoral work. The burden of sin. It serves as a reminder of the chains that bound Christ's hands and the heavy burden of sin the priest helps carry for others. Antidote to hypocrisy. By wearing a symbol of toil and sin on the arm of action, the priest is reminded that he is a sinner serving a holy God, preventing spiritual pride. He quietly prays,
"May I deserve, O Lord, to bear the maniple of weeping and sorrow in order that I may joyfully reap the reward of my labors."
Finally comes the chasuble, the outermost vestment and the one most visible during Mass. The outermost vestment and the one most richly adorned of all the sacred vestments worn. Why the heavy coat? It's called a chasuble, from the Latin casula, meaning little house. Originally a Roman travel cloak, it envelopes the priest like a tent. You'll see servers lift it during the consecration. Why? Centuries ago, these were so heavy with gold and stiff fabric that the priest physically couldn't lift his arms without help. The TLM keeps this gesture as a living fossil of that history. Spiritually, it represents two things: charity, which covers all other virtues, and the yoke of Christ. The large cross on the back reminds us that the priest is representing Jesus' sacrifice, wearing the same purple robe of mockery and kingship. As he puts it on, the priest recalls Christ's words,
My yoke is sweet and my burden light.
One last thing a priest might wear, the biretta. Before Mass, you may notice the priest wearing a square, three-peaked hat called a biretta. Although it is not one of the sacred vestments used for offering Mass, it has been part of Catholic clerical dress for centuries. Traditionally, the priest wears the biretta during processions and while seated, removing it whenever he approaches the altar. Only after all of these prayers and preparations is he ready to approach the altar. Each garment teaches a lesson. Each prayer serves as a reminder. Each action helps the priest focus on the sacred mystery he is about to celebrate. What appears outwardly as clothing is inwardly an act of preparation. A preparation that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. And before a single word of the Mass is spoken, the priest has already begun worshiping God through prayer. What about the altar servers? The priest is not the only one who vests for Mass. At a traditional Latin Mass, altar servers are usually dressed in a black cassock covered by a white surplice. The cassock is a long robe traditionally associated with clergy and those serving in the sanctuary. The surplice, a loose white garment worn over it, symbolizes purity and service. The servers assist the priest throughout the Mass, responding in Latin, carrying candles, handling liturgical items, and helping ensure that the ceremonies unfold with dignity and reverence. The black represents a dying to the secular world. Well, that covers priests and servers, but of course I did not cover deacons or bishops, or the different colors the church uses for the vestments. Those topics could be for another video. Thank you for watching.